Howdy partners, welcome back to the Video Cowboy. Now we've talked about cowboys and we've talked about Indians, but we haven't talked about any of the cowgirls. Oh, we mentioned Gail Evans, and we'll talk more about her in upcoming episodes of the Video Cowboy. But today I want to tell you about Gail Davis. Might not trip your trigger right off the bat, but Gail Davis was Annie Oakley. And there's a fun story about that, which we'll get to in just one moment. Gail Davis went to Hollywood and her name was Betty Davis. She had married a guy at the University of Texas and his last name was Davis and her first name that she was born with was Betty. Well, everyone in Hollywood said you can't have two Betty Davises, so it was actually someone in the casting office that told her, let's go with Gail Davis. So Gail Davis made 32 feature films and 29 of them were Westerns. And 20 of those she was supporting Gene Autry. And it was Gene Autry that kicks us off with this interesting story. You see, partners, Gene Autry had said for years that the little boys had somebody to look up to in the Western movies, but the little girls didn't have anyone. So he decided that Gail Davis would be Annie Oakley. Matter of fact, he believed in it so much that he was the executive producer of Annie Oakley, and his production company, Flying A Productions, shot the entire series. They shot 81 episodes with Gail Davis as Annie Oakley and a guy named Jimmy Hawkins as her little brother, Tag. Now, Jimmy Hawkins was in 80 of the 81 episodes. The reason he wasn't in one episode was because it was the pilot, the very first one, and they'd cast another childhood actor, and his name was Billy Gray, and he quit after one episode because he became Bud on Father Knows Best. Annie Oakley was a great show. Every week she would save all the townspeople with her great shooting skills. And by the way, in real life, Gail Davis was a great horseman. She had learned to ride at a much, much younger age. This show ran through the mid-50s and then it ran in repeats on ABC all the way up into the mid-60s. That was Gail Davis. Well, at the end of the run of Annie Oakley, she found a tough time getting parts, doing anything else. She felt like she had been identified as Annie Oakley for so long that they wouldn't cast her as anything else. And finally, a manager and some other folks in Hollywood said, if you want other parts, first thing you're going to have to do is cut off them blonde pigtails and dye your hair dark. She still didn't find too many parts, but she had one significant role that you've probably seen on the Andy Griffith Show in an episode called The Perfect Woman. She goes into Mayberry because she's Thelma Lou's cousin and she gets fixed up with Andy. Now here's the strange part of the story. In that episode, she is still a crack shot. She defeats Andy in a skeet shooting contest. Turns out that she is the Arkansas state champion for skeet shooting. Still, even after all those years, she was seen as a crack shot. So that's Gail Davis. So here's to Annie Oakley, the ropin'est, riding'est, rootin'est, tootin'est, straightest, shootin'est cowgirl who ever graced your TV screen. Until next time, hasta la vista vaqueros. I'll be seeing you, Wranglers.